Okay, some more signals and emissions. I think these are going to talk about some of the activities that amateurs do. One is radio direction finding, where you use a directional antenna and receiver to sometimes find noise sources, like a power line that's arcing over and generating lots of RF noise, or a bad transformer, things like that. You can kind of locate where they are. Another one is what's sometimes called a fox hunt, where somebody hides a transmitter that's set to send out a signal like every minute or something like that. And you have to drive around with the directional antenna and try to find where the transmitter is. So which of the following methods is used to locate sources of noise, interference, or jamming?
Charlie.
Yep, Charlie.
Which of these items would be useful for a hidden transmitter hunt?
Bravo.
Yep.
Another thing that's very popular, particularly with the Melbourne Club, is contesting. I think they come in like the top 10 in almost all of them. The point is, in a fixed period of time, usually 12, 24 hours, some of them may go 48, you try to make as many contacts as possible. And they'll have them for different modes, like they might have one for single sideband, they might have one for CW, sometimes they have one for RTTY, which is radio teletype, which is like a keyboard communications. But the basic premise is to pass the minimum amount of information that you need to identify the contact so that you can do as many as possible. One of the pieces of information that's used is called a grid locator. It's officially the Maidenhead grid locator, which is a letter and number designator. It actually is a letter designator, although usually they don't do the last two numbers. So every geographic location on the surface of the Earth has a letter number designator. So what operating activity involves contacting as many stations as possible during a specified period?
Delta.
Delta.
Which of the following is good procedure when contacting another station in a contest?
Charlie.
Charlie. Yep.
All right, here is a small portion showing kind of the southeast here. And you can see in Florida, at least where I am, is in EL 98. Actually, I'm EL 98 PI. If you were to zoom down farther, you see that those squares shown are broken up into smaller units. So that lets you identify where somebody is within a fairly small geographic area, anywhere on the planet. So what is a grid locator?
Alpha.
Okay, there's a thing called Internet Radio Linking Protocol, or ILRP. IRLP, excuse me. And it allows you to use a radio to talk to what we call a node that provides a connection to the internet, so that you can get to another node somewhere and back out to a repeater to some remote user using the IRLP protocol. So it was kind of before we did a lot of the digital voice stuff like Fusion and D-Star and DMR. They used this so that you could talk radio to radio, but you were actually going through the internet. So essentially, it's just a method of doing voice communications to another person around the world by using the internet. And those computers, sometimes they're called gateways. In this case, they call them nodes, provide the access to the internet. So you have a node going in and a node coming out. The actual signaling is called DTMF. If you're familiar with the old touch tone phones, and be on door locks, things like that, where they have a little keypad and you press it and you hear these tones.
Beep, 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 beep.
Right. That's a dual tone multi-frequency. That's what DTMF stands for. And the way that works is on a typical keypad. Like in this first row, it's 697 hertz. In this this last column is 1633 hertz. So if I were to press an A, I would hear 697 plus 1633, which is why it sounds, because it's two tones. So every one of these keys on the keypad is going to have a different combination of tones, and that's how it decodes it. So what is Internet Radio Linking Project? I said protocol.
Alpha.
Alpha.
Yep. Nowadays, if you have if you no longer have a landline phone, you might have what you think is a landline phone that's going over internet. That's called Voice over Internet Protocol, or VoIP. So how is over-the-air access to IRLP nodes accomplished?
Bravo.
Yes.
And voice over IP is just a way of delivering digital voice over the internet using that particular protocol. It's really how they structure the format of the bits for the digital voice. So what is voice over internet protocol?
Delta.
Yep, Delta.
There's another similar one called Echolink. Except in the case of Echolink, you initiate the transmission with your computer or your cell phone. In order to use it, you have to register your call sign and show proof that you actually are a licensed amateur. And then you bring up the Echolink program, and it's kind of like a directory, and you can look up people and by country or state or whatever, and actually try to make contact with them. It uses what they call them gateways, basically the same thing as a node in the RLP. And it allows two different amateur radio stations to connect together via the internet. It's just that you're doing it either with the program on your computer or on your cell phone.
Huh.
But it's a little bit different than just using the cell phone, because there's in the process there are repeaters involved. So there actually is going through radio transmission for part of it.
So you don't actually talk on a radio for this?
No, it's
You talk through your cell phone or something?
yes. I'm trying to remember. I tried it once, it's been a long time ago. I don't really remember. I didn't exactly see the point. But it's just one of those things that's available. Here's a picture of one of the Echolink programs.
Wow.
And so you can pick the country, or I believe you can go down to states, things like that. And then there's kind of like a directory listing of all the available stations. I guess you can do conference calls too.
So if you didn't want to buy equipment, you could just get one of these programs and get started.
Well, but in order to use Echolink, remember, you have to have a license and a call
Yeah,
sign.
yeah. But you wouldn't need any equipment once you had your
Right.
license. Yeah.
That's correct.
Dang.
All you need is your computer or your cell phone.
Huh.
Which of the following protocols enables an amateur station to transmit through a repeater without using a radio to initiate the transmission?
Delta.
Delta.
What's required before you can use Echolink?
Charlie.
Yeah, Delta.
Oh, I suppose the other ones too, but
Yeah, the Echolink software is free,
uh,
Oh, wow.
and you don't have to I'm pretty sure it's free, and there's no required training.
you just have to learn it on your own, right?
Paying for
Okay.
it.
Can I go back? Ask
Sure.
a question? Well, my daughter is thinking about, well, actually, she's applied for a job in Rome. Would she have to have equipment on her end to receive? I mean, if I were to call her using the Echolink system, would she have to be a licensed operator to receive?
She would have to have a license, yes,
Okay.
but she wouldn't need any equipment.
No, it'd be on the, what do you call it?
All right.
Okay.
But then again, it's not much. Well, I guess one difference is if you were using the cell phone, you'd be paying international rates, be
Mhm.
kind of expensive. So using
No, but-
Echolink,
Yeah.
I don't think you'd have those charges as long as you have, a data plan that has
No,
enough.
they'd use Facebook Messenger, or what do you call it? They would use Facebook so they could be on the computer and make their call that way.
What's an amateur radio station that connects other amateur stations to the internet?
Alpha.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have time to put takeaways in. And I still don't know where those 2 sets of slides went.
You'll find them after we get out.
I don't know. I looked all over. I went through all the old stuff.